Hello, I'm Chipsy and I'm here to talk about Ashes of Creation. I'm sure there's plenty of you that already know about this highly anticipated game, but if you haven't, Ashes of Creation is an extremely ambitious MMORPG that is about to enter its Alpha 2 phase of testing. It's built in a world called Vera, which strives for player interaction, a dynamic world which reacts to players' actions. You can establish towns and cities in each of the nodes. Vera is around 1,200 square kilometres in size, although the land is probably only around 480 square kilometres, with the sea being 750. To put this into perspective, WoW's Azeroth and Outland put together is 350 kilometres squared, so as you can see it's going to be pretty big. Ashes of Creation is a PvX game, which means players will encounter PvE and PvP naturally throughout playing. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you'll be questing, minding your own business, enjoying the ambient sounds, getting blown away by a gorgeous musical score, and bang, be attacked out of nowhere. Obviously this can happen, but there is a penalty to the player killer, which we'll explore further later in this video. The game has a hybrid combat system, which you can switch between tab target and action combat by a click of a button. The races that have currently been announced are as follows: 2 human races, Kalar and Valoon, 2 dwarven races, Dunir and Nikua, 2 orc races, Renke and Vek, 2 elven races, Empyrene and Pyre, and finally a race called the Tolnar. Ashes of Creation does adopt the traditional trinity of tank, DPS and support. There are 64 archetypes, but don't let that overwhelm you. Once you've finished your character creation, there will be 8 primary archetypes to choose from: Fighter, Tank, Rogue, Ranger, Mage, Summoner, Cleric and Bard. Then at a certain point in the game, which has been confirmed but I don't want to be too spoilery, you'll be able to pick a secondary archetype, again from the main 8 archetypes, which in turn creates your class. For example, a Fighter primary archetype and a Ranger secondary archetype gives you the Strider class. A Tank primary and a Cleric secondary would make you a Paladin. You will not be able to change your primary archetype, but if you pick your secondary and realise you're not happy with it, you will be able to change this, but I'm assuming it will come at a cost or something like that. Your secondary archetype doesn't give any new skills, but it augments your existing and future abilities. It also gives you the option to select different build options for that class. If you're anything like me, I love skill trees, the excitement of getting that new skill point and seeing the effects it might have as you level up. As you'd expect with any skill tree, you'll receive skill points as you level. You can spend these on active skills, passive skills or weapon skills. The active skills will be abilities that we put on our action bar. Passive skills can be used in an array of ways, but as a given, they are skills that will enhance our current abilities or weapon for the most part. And finally, weapon skills. I really like how they've done this. Similar to passive skills, each weapon will have a skill tree which will enhance that weapon, whether it's a status condition, a proc effect, that can offer even more synergy to the player's active skills. Very exciting. If you've enjoyed this video so far, please consider liking and subscribing, it'd mean a lot. Thanks. Like you'd expect from any MMORPG, Ashes of Creation has the usual systems you would come to expect: quests, dungeons, raids, guilds and guild halls, but the majority of these will be open world, around 80% in fact. Ashes of Creation also adopts a religion system. You can choose one of 6 primary religions, which you can progress throughout your time in Vera. Mainly through questing, where you'll gain access to unique items, recipes, discount in certain areas, and even unique augments from your class abilities. Some religions can even send you down a dark questing path. As I've mentioned questing, I should mention Ashes of Creation has introduced a slightly different way to our traditional questing. It offers event quests, commission quests, and story arc quests, as well as your standard quests. Events or event quests are a response to the developing world. There are various types of these. They can pop up randomly, maybe something is blocking a bridge or a roadway, a random boss has appeared, or a natural disaster has struck. The player will be able to contribute in these events and gain XP and rewards. Commission quests are quests posted on a commission board. These quests are what we have come to expect in games like The Witcher and New World. I think this will be our go-to questing method, as we will be working our way through these when we're not getting distracted by events or PvP and the like. Story arc quests. These are our long storylines. These will mostly be available to all players, no matter what your current level is, although there may be some catered just for the higher levels. I'm very excited about this. Again, this is driven by player action, node progression and regional activity, and whatever else you're currently doing in the world of Vera. You could be having an effect on the next story arc. Artisan classes are your professions. We have the following available to us: gathering, processing and crafting. The gathering professions are fishing, herbalism, lumberjacking, mining and hunting. Processing professions are cooking, alchemy, farming, metalworking, lumber milling, animal husbandry, stonemasonry, tanning and weaving. And finally, the crafting professions: armoursmithing, carpentry, leatherworking, tailoring, weaponsmithing, scribing, jewel cutting and arcane engineering. They are really pushing player interaction. They want us working together with our professions, trading things that are useful to each other. They have mentioned in previous interviews that the crafters will be able to produce the best gear and items. Now then, PvP in Ashes of Creation looks excellent. I honestly think there is something here for everyone, even if you've never been a fan of PvP in previous MMORPGs. There is plenty to go through, but as this is meant to be an overview, let's look at the basics. The main focus for PvP will be open world PvP, not necessarily PKing and ganking, but battles between numerous people in sieges, guild wars, naval PvP, and my personal favourite, caravans. Well, I say it's my favourite, maybe not after I've lost a load of loot and resources. Sieges are split into two types: castle sieges, where a guild can occupy a guild castle, and node sieges, where an open world battle will occur to destroy a node, which sounds bloody devastating, especially if I'm out there peacefully questing and there's no in-home to come back to. Guild wars are exactly as they sound. Declare a war against a rival guild, there will be various objectives to complete, which will dynamically spawn in certain time zones. Caravan PvP. Caravans supply nodes with resources and materials to help upgrade node buildings and more. Caravans are an objective-based PvP event led by a player. Players who come across these caravans will be able to attack it or defend it. There are rewards for players who successfully defend it, as well as the attackers who successfully destroy it. A destroyed caravan becomes a wreckage. The players can loot it. This is going to be bloody brilliant, and I can see myself, and I'm sure many others, getting sidetracked by this constantly.
Nice.
I will briefly talk about open world PvP kills that aren't in a controlled PvP event as stated above. Players are able to flag themselves for PvP. Flagged PvP players are able to kill unflagged PvP players, but it will come at a cost. The flagged PvP player will begin to gain corruption. Gaining more and more corruption has a cost, a ×4 death penalty, and rather than just losing resources or durability damage like an unflagged player would, the corrupt player could also lose their current weapons and armour. You're also exposing yourself to NPC guards who will kill you on sight, and players who are bounty hunters who will track you down. Finally, nodes. Nodes are an adaptive type of content and a huge part of Ashes of Creation's world. They are one of the major systems introduced to us. Nodes are preset areas in the world of Vera, inside zones of influence, which are areas that change, develop and grow over time due to players undertaking activities like questing, gathering and raiding. These zones of influence will eventually overlap with other nodes' zones of influence. There will be 85 regular nodes around Vera, with an additional 15 castle nodes. Over these 85 nodes, they have a possibility to be one of 4 node types. Divine nodes, which focuses on faith, skill and equipment augment. Economic nodes, which focuses on trade and merchants. Military nodes, which focuses on combat and class training. academic nodes, which focuses on artisan classes and construction. These node types will be defined at their first stage of development, the expedition. Each will have their own specific NPC population, priests for the divine nodes, merchants for the economic nodes, guards for the military nodes, and scholars for the academic nodes. There are 7 stages in node development. Stage 0, Wilderness, where I expect we will be clearing the area of foliage, scrubland, animals, monsters to create an area for the node. Stage 1, the Expedition, where we will start seeing a small amount of NPCs, tents and campfires. Stage 2, Encampment, more NPCs, larger permanent tents. Stage 3, a village, where the camp becomes a village, with permanent structures and a government starts to form. Stage 4, a town, much larger than a village. Stage 5, a city. This can now become a main player hub with lots of development. It will feel alive with NPCs, it can have guild halls and player accommodation. And finally, Stage 6, a metropolis. This is no easy feat as it requires a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of resources to develop and maintain. Because of the sheer size of the metropolis, there won't be any more than 5 of them. Nodes will bring us new points of interest like world bosses, dungeons and story arcs at different stages of development. I'm really excited about this. I've never played an MMO with a system that requires so much player interaction. Ashes of Creation is about to enter its Alpha 2 testing, and you're still currently able to purchase keys. Please see the link in the description. There is still so much more to cover in Ashes of Creation. I hope this gives you a good overview and an insight into whether you'd like to try the game or not. Over the next coming months, I plan to go more in depth into all aspects of the game, nodes, skill and weapon trees, PvP, and my favourite, class guides, and plenty more. If there's anything you'd like to see, please let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to get a video up for you. Please consider liking and subscribing, any support is very much appreciated. Thanks so much for watching, be safe, and take it easy.